Hey there to all our die-hard tennis junkies, streaming in from every time zone, and welcome back to your ultimate headquarters for pulse-pounding sports action. Listen, if you reckon you have got the shifting sands of Asian tennis all figured out for the year 2026, drop whatever you are doing right this second, because what just went down in Doha, Qatar over the last 24 hours is anything but your standard tour stop. Update. We are not just talking about a player touching down at an airport. This is a shot across the bow, a bona fide declaration of intent against the existing power structure of the WTA Tour. You can practically feel the ground shaking under the feet of the tournament directors, the press pack, and the legions of supporters swarming the grounds of the Khalifa International Tennis and Squash Complex. The headlines are absolutely exploding across the web. Video clips are dominating every single timeline, and the whole storyline of this championship has flipped on its head in the blink of an eye. What we are dissecting here is the blockbuster red carpet arrival of the Philippines' absolute tennis sensation Alexandra Eala at the Qatar Total Energies Open 2026. But here is the kicker. It isn't just that she has set foot in the Middle East. The real headline is the swagger and style with which she has kicked down the door. Let me paint the picture for you. Doha is the glittering diamond of the Middle Eastern swing, a massive WTA 1000 showdown that sits right at the pinnacle of the sport, just a half step below the Grand Slams. The prize money pot is sitting pretty at over $4 million, and the entry list is absolutely bursting with the planet's deadliest court assassins, including heavyweights like Iga Swiatek and Elena Rybakina. We have got global icons like Coco Gauff stalking the grounds, which means the literal titans of the game are walking these very halls as we speak. And yet, even with that constellation of superstars for the last few hours, the number one topic setting social media ablaze, from X to Instagram to TikTok, has absolutely nothing to do with the world's top-ranked player. Instead, the limelight has been totally stolen by the viral entrance of a 20-year-old Filipino phenom, fresh off a brutal campaign in Abu Dhabi and marching straight into the center of the Qatar Open's VIP Players Gala. Reports flying out of Doha describe a level of hype and electricity that you usually only see reserved for the top 5 legends of the game. When Alex Eala finally hit the tarmac at Hamad International Airport, the vibe was pure voltage, but the genuine shock we mentioned in the title comes from her limitless energy and the flawless way she switched gears. Think about it. Most warriors barely 48 hours removed from a crushing quarterfinal loss and a deep run to the double semis in Abu Dhabi would be looking for the nearest exit to crash. 9 times out of 10, they would be barricading themselves in a hotel suite to ice their joints and catch up on sleep. But Eala is built different. Our sources on the ground confirmed she went straight from the runway, skipping the usual recovery downtime, and made a beeline for the all-players bash. And that is exactly where the internet broke. Standing shoulder to shoulder with a sea of Grand Slam winners and tour veterans, Eala did not look like a qualifier hoping for a break. She walked in like she held the deed to the building. The snapshots flooding out of the venue, the high-fashion look, that glow of supreme confidence, and her chilling with inner-circle friends like Zeynep Sonmez and the tour's royalty have sent the tennis world into a total tailspin. This is a massive psychological power play against her opponents before a single racket has even been swung, screaming a message loud and clear. I am not just visiting. I belong here. She is basically telling the locker room, I am not a tourist at the WTA 1000 level anymore. I am a permanent fixture. And we have to ask ourselves, why does this vibe catch us off guard? It hits hard because historically we expect youngsters from up-and-coming tennis nations to keep their heads down, stay quiet, and just be thankful to see their name on the roster. Alexandra Eala has taken that unwritten rulebook and tossed it into the fire. And the reason her arrival is trending globally is because of that stark, undeniable contrast. It is the massive leap between the scrappy clay court fighter we tracked 3 years ago and the polished, high-octane superstar commanding our screens in 2026. But let us look beyond the designer gowns and the flashing cameras for a second, because this entrance signals a tectonic shift in the hierarchy of the 2026 season. We have got to tackle the elephant in the room regarding her spot in the tournament. Why is she sitting pretty in the main draw when there were doubts about her status initially? Was she destined to slog it out on the punishing, dusty outer courts of the qualifying bracket? The answer is a hard no, and that news dropped the second she landed. Alex Eala has locked down a direct entry ticket into the main draw of the season's inaugural WTA 1000 event. And that is a legitimate bombshell that is the game changer right there. The tournament organizers know exactly what kind of star power she drags in, and the crowd in Doha, with its massive Filipino expat community, has been counting down the seconds for this. Ticket sales. The buzzing atmosphere on site and the digital engagement numbers all went vertical the moment it was confirmed she would be bypassing qualifiers. This has morphed into something bigger than just a tennis tournament. For millions of die-hard supporters, this is officially the Alex Eala show, and the timing is pure cinematic perfection. She rolls into town riding the adrenaline of one of the most heart-stopping, nail-biting clashes of her entire pro career back in Abu Dhabi. We are talking about that impossible comeback against Alexandra Sasnovich, where she was staring down the barrel of a 0-4 deficit in the deciding set and still clawed her way to victory proof of her bulletproof mental game. Now she is shipping that iron will straight to Doha, and while the rivals at that party might be sipping mocktails and smiling deep down, they know exactly what kind of storm is brewing. They saw firsthand the damage she did to Sasnovich when she had absolutely no room for error. They watched her push a heavy hitter like a Katerina Alexandrova to the absolute brink in the quarters, and they know this viral sensation is dangerous. So folks, you better strap yourselves in. We are getting ready to break down every angle of this scenario, analyzing that gala appearance and what it means for her skyrocketing global brand. We are going to rip apart the main draw bracket and chart her potential path to the trophy, including that tricky Czech jinx awaiting her in round 1 against Tereza Valentova. This isn't just some casual vlog check-in. This is a full-blown deep-dive investigation into the critical week that could define the trajectory of Alexandra Eala's entire 2026 season. Her arrival might have broken the internet, and the party was legendary, but the action on the court is set to be historic as we track the journey from Abu Dhabi to Doha. To really wrap your head around the scale of her entrance here in Qatar, we have to check the rearview mirror at the drama that unfolded just a few days ago in Abu Dhabi. You can't truly appreciate the glamour she showed off at the Doha Players' Party without respecting the blood, sweat, and tears she left on the hard courts of Abu Dhabi. Alexandra Eala is currently sitting at a career-high ranking, floating right around world number 45, and that number is her golden key to the city. That ranking is the only reason she is waltzing through the front door of the Qatar Open main draw instead of fighting for her survival in the cutthroat qualifying rounds. That status was earned through a grueling start to 2026, where in Abu Dhabi, a WTA 500 battleground, we watched Eala's game officially level up. That recent showdown against Sasnovich, you can forget calling it just a win. We are looking at what analysts are already hailing as the definitive, season-defining resurrection for Alex Eala. We really need to hit the pause button and appreciate the sheer gravity of that performance because it gives us a crystal-clear window into her current psychological state. Just picture the scene in Doha. She was completely written off, trailing by a set and staring directly into the abyss of a 0-4 deficit in the second frame. The broadcast team was practically signing off, clearing their throats, and preparing her exit narration for the tournament. But then, seemingly out of absolutely nowhere, the script flipped, and her entire demeanor shifted. She did not just survive out there. She scrapped, clawed, and fought her way back from the dead to snatch victory in a nail-biting tiebreak. That kind of resilience is not standard issue. That is the unmistakable signature of a future top 20 mentality. Even looking back at her quarterfinal exit against Ekaterina Alexandrova Eala proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that she has the heavy artillery to stand in the ring and trade blows with the biggest power hitters on hard courts. Alexandrova is known for hitting the ball incredibly flat and piercing through court defenses like a laser beam, yet Alex stood her ground, trading heavy blows toe-to-toe for the majority of that slugfest. And we certainly cannot overlook her phenomenal performance in the doubles bracket. Marching all the way to the semi-finals alongside Janice Tien demonstrated that her net play and serve and volley instincts are rapidly becoming lethal weapons in her arsenal. Consequently, when she finally touched down in Doha, she did not carry herself like a defeated quarterfinalist licking her wounds. No, the vibes were entirely different. She arrived with the swagger of a seasoned warrior who had just battled through 6 grueling high-intensity matches, singles and doubles combined in less than 7 days. That is main character energy. She is battle-hardened and completely in rhythm. While other top seeds like Swiatek or Rybakina might be shaking off the rust coming from training blocks, Eala is entering the arena firing on all cylinders from actual competition. Now, we really need to discuss the viral nature of her arrival and the deeper significance of the exclusive players' party. Let us break down that red carpet entrance and exactly why it is trending across every platform. Is this just social media fluff and noise? Absolutely not. In the high-stakes ecosystem of professional tennis, aura and presence are currency. The exclusive Players Gala at the Qatar Open holds legendary status on the tour. It represents one of the rare moments the tour pauses to applaud itself. For Alex to walk directly into that party and command attention signals a massive shift in her self-belief and her status among the elite. Just a few short seasons ago, during her junior years, she would have been hovering on the sidelines watching from the periphery like a fan. Today, she is the main attraction at center stage. The electric reaction from the local fans and the explosion of interest online is a testament to her exponentially growing star power. She has transcended the label of being just a tennis player from the Philippines. She has evolved into a legitimate, marketable global brand. Those trending snapshots of her with Turkish sensation Zeynep Sönmez highlight the camaraderie, but they also prove the level of comfort she now feels on the big tour. A happy athlete is a dangerous athlete. If Eala feels stylish, confident, and fully integrated into the atmosphere of a massive WTA 1000 event, that psychological ease translates directly to freedom and creativity on the court. The suffocating pressure of trying to prove she belongs is vanishing. It is being replaced by a hungry, undeniable desire to assert her dominance over the field. Let us shift focus to the actual battleground. The Qatar Total Energies Open, a true WTA 1000 battlefield where legends are made. This is the major leagues offering 1,000 ranking points to the champion and featuring a massive stacked draw of 56 or 64 players depending on the specific year's structure. The conditions in Doha present a unique puzzle for every player. It is an outdoor hard court, but do not mistake it for the surfaces in Australia or the US Open. It plays very differently. The air hangs slightly heavier in the evenings here. The court surface can feel gritty, almost like sandpaper, and the wind is almost always a chaotic factor swirling around the stadium. However, Eala's left-handed forehand loaded with heavy topspin is actually tailor-made for these specific environmental conditions. When the breeze picks up, that lefty spin creates unpredictable movement in the air, turning returns into a nightmare for opponents. But now we face the round one nightmare, the dreaded Czech curse. The glamour of her arrival is about to collide head-on with the brutal reality of the tournament bracket. We have crunched the numbers on the draw, and Alex has been dealt a first-round card that is fascinating, dangerous, and dripping with storylines. She faces Tereza Valentova. This is where the script gets incredibly spicy. You could not write a more dramatic narrative for an opener if you tried. Here are the cold hard facts and the history. Eala has never defeated a player from the Czech Republic. She holds a lifetime record of 0 wins and 9 losses against Czech opposition. It is the Czech jinx. It is the one statistical anomaly that hangs over her career like a dark storm cloud. The rivalry here is intense. Valentova is just 18 years old. Alex is 20. This is a clash of the future generation. But more importantly, remember that Valentova destroyed Eala last year in Japan. It was a straight sets demolition job. The score was 6-1, 6-2. It was ugly. So, while the internet is celebrating her gala dress, you can bet Alex's coaching team is agonizing over the strategy to dismantle Valentova. Valentova is the archetype of the Czech tennis school, a flat-hitting ball striker with immense power and a massive serve that skids through the court. She is exactly the type of player who thrives on rushing Eala, robbing her of the time she needs to wind up that heavy lefty forehand. But we must remember this is the 2026 version of Alex Eala. This is the woman who rallied from the brink of 0-4 down against Sasnovich. This is the athlete who has finally cracked the top 50. So what is the tactical blueprint? How does she turn a viral arrival into a viral victory? She must disrupt Valentova's rhythm completely. In their previous encounter, Alex tried to match Valentova's power, which was a fatal strategic error. You simply do not try to outslug a Czech power baseliner unless your name is Aryna Sabalenka. This time, under the slower night lights of Doha, Eala must deploy her variety, specifically the lefty slider. She needs to carve that lefty serve out wide to the advantage court to stretch the field. The mantra must be height over raw pace. Eala needs to utilize heavy topspin to push Valentova back. If she can force Valentova to hit from 3 feet behind the baseline, Eala wins. If Valentova is allowed to stand on the baseline, Eala loses. Furthermore, Alex holds the edge in movement and fitness. She needs to drag out the rallies. Valentova is young and explosive, but does she have the engine for a 2.5-hour war of attrition in the Middle Eastern humidity? Alex is built for that grind. The stakes here are astronomical regarding rankings and prestige. A win here is monumental because in a WTA 1000 event, the point distribution is massive. Securing just a single main draw victory in Doha carries more weight than a deep semifinal run in many smaller ITF events combined. If Alex Eala can finally exercise those demons against Czech opposition right here on the purple clay, fueled by the deafening roar of the Filipino expatriate community, packing the Khalifa International Complex to the rafters, we aren't just watching a match. We are witnessing the defining psychological breakthrough of her entire 2026 campaign. Getting the victory here isn't simply about punching a ticket to the next day. It is about kicking the door down for a potential blockbuster in the second round that the tennis world is absolutely salivating over. We are talking about a collision course with a top-seeded juggernaut, possibly a cinematic rematch with Karolina Muchova or another marquee name, which would silence the critics and prove that her seismic impact on this tournament goes far deeper than just initial media buzz. Look, the player gala was a spectacle of high fashion and flashbulbs, but trading forehands with a powerhouse like Tereza Valentova is a completely different beast. This is the true litmus test where the rubber meets the road regarding her grit. The entire tennis ecosystem is hovering over the refresh button, waiting to see if social media dominance translates into breakpoint conversions. But let's pull the lens back for a second. This moment carries massive weight for the trajectory of the sport across the entire Asian continent. When you see Eala's name etched into the main draw of a prestigious WTA 1000 event alongside giants like China's Zheng Qinwen and the return of Naomi Osaka, it is undeniable proof that we are living through a golden renaissance of Asian tennis right now. That said, Eala is operating on an island of her own as the solitary torchbearer for Southeast Asia, a region that has been starving for a legitimate global icon since the glory days of the legendary Tamarine Tanasugarn. Every time she ties her laces and marches onto the hard court, she isn't just representing herself. She has the aspirations of millions riding in her racket bag, and trust me, the tournament directors in Doha know exactly what they have on their hands. There is a reason she is slotted for primetime billing and why the lenses follow her every step off the court. Simply put, Alex Eala is box office gold. She puts butts in seats, and she drives analytics through the roof. She has essentially been anointed the fan favorite of the Qatar Open before a single serve has been struck, which begs the ultimate question. How does this massive wave of momentum play out once the umpire calls play? We started this coverage talking about a cultural moment, that viral storm she created at the gala that captured the hearts and feeds of the digital world. But as dawn breaks over the futuristic Doha skyline tomorrow morning, the couture gowns go back in the closet, the red carpet is rolled up and the DJ stops spinning. The strobe lights vanish, leaving Alexandra Eala standing solo on that unforgiving purple surface, staring down the barrel of her absolute moment of reckoning. Internet fame is fleeting, but legacies are carved out between the white lines, and we are watching a competitor who has grown up and hardened her resolve right before our very eyes. She has taken the bitter pill of that exit in Abu Dhabi and metabolized that frustration into pure, high-grade competitive fuel for this campaign in the desert. Rather than crumbling under the weight of a WTA 1000 draw, she is walking into the fire with her head high and a swagger that suggests she is not just here to participate, she is here to disrupt. I am going on record to say the biggest headline is yet to be written, and I genuinely believe we are hours away from watching the Czech curse crumble into dust. My analysis is that the radiant confidence and defiance she projected upon arrival will manifest physically as one of the most aggressive, tactically ruthless performances Alex Eala has ever delivered. The 2026 Qatar Open is officially underway. The Queen has entered the arena, and that gala, that was just the appetizer before the main course. Now I need to hear from the real experts, that means you. Head down to the comments section right this second. Give it to me straight. Does Alex finally dismantle Valentova, or does the ghost of that brutal loss at the Japan Open rise up to haunt her again here in the Middle East? And what is your verdict on her viral arrival? Was that the look of a champion ready to dominate, or are you worried it is too much noise before a critical match? Drop your boldest hot takes below, and keep it locked here because we are bringing you point-by-point coverage of this entire saga as it unfolds. Do not take your eyes off the screen because Philippine tennis history is being drafted in real time under the desert lights tonight. Hit the like, smash that subscribe, and turn on notifications, because if she pulls off this first-round heist, our next breakdown is going to be absolutely monumental. This is Doha, this is the Alex Eala era, and the show is just beginning. Good night, everybody, and let's watch some tennis.